Hello everybody. Today we're going to be having a look at the three different groups of pronouns that exist in the Maltese language. The first group of pronouns are the personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, you, and they. So they are yena for I, inti for you, uwa for he, iya for she, intkom for you in the plural, all of you, and uma for they. And these bracketed ones here are just shortened variations that are completely acceptable. Yin, int, u, and I. So these are used to express I, you, he, she. However, a lot of the time they can also be used to express I am, you are, without having to use a separate word, as in English, the verb to be, I, you, I are. Sorry, I am, you are, he is. Often in Maltese, the word is omitted in the present tense and is only used in the past or the future. The next group of pronouns are the demonstrative pronouns, which is the word to describe this, that, and these and those in English. So this and that, of course, are to describe things that are close to you, nouns that are close. And in Maltese, there's a distinction between whether the noun is masculine or feminine. And we won't go into today the difference between masculine and feminine nouns, but it's just enough to know that there's a difference between the words. So dan and dark for this and that, masculine, and deen and dik for this and that, feminine. Then in the plural we have these, down, and those, dauk. And here there's no distinction shown for masculine and feminine, it's just one term. So here are some examples. Dan el-ktib, this book. And you'll see the colors are aligned with the English translation. Dan el-ktib, you'll remember il, the definite article from the last lesson. In Maltese, it's just written that way, Dan el-ktib. I know in English it wouldn't make sense to say this the book, but it's just something particular to Maltese, Dan el-ktib. Minu dak, who is that? Min u dak, minu dak. And because we've used the masculine, u dak, we know that we're talking about a man. If it was a female we were talking about, we would say mini dik. Dini darba, this time. And again, darba is a feminine noun, and so we use din. Mini dik tifla, who is that girl? Min I dik tifla. Min, who, I is, dik, that, الطفلة, girl. Down الكتبة, these books. كتبة, the plural of كتيب, down الكتبة. داوك النساء, those women. The third group of pronouns are the possessive pronouns. And in English they are mine, yours, his, hers, ours, yours, and theirs. And in Maltese it's represented by the word ta as the root. Now ta on its own generally means of. So it can mean, for example, to say somebody is of a certain place, from a certain place. And when we use it to show possession, we add a suffix for each different person. So ta, and we add I, becomes tiyai or tiyai. And you see this ein that appears. You may say, where does it come from? Well, if we look at the ta, you'll notice that it's followed by a little apostrophe. And this apostrophe is the ein hidden, a silent ein at the end of the word. However, in all of these cases, because we add a suffix, the ein becomes unhidden. It becomes written. So that's why we see it. So we have ti, or pronounced as tiye, tiyek, or tiyak, tiyu, or tiyau, tacha, tana, takom, and tachom. And so there's another point of pronunciation for tacha and tachom. So you notice again, why is it pronounced the h if they're supposed to be silent letters? And that's because we have the ein, which is silent, followed by the akka, which is silent, and you can almost think of it as though they cancel each other out, because then we have a strong h twice, h and h. So tacha and tachom. But it's only in these two cases, because for example tana, there is no akka, and so there is no h sound. It's just silent, tana. So the last point that I'll make about possessive pronouns is that we can add that suffix that we saw from the previous slide straight onto the end of a noun to show possession. So for example, ras, which is the Maltese word for head, while it's perfectly acceptable that we say ras tiyak, and tiyak always comes after the noun, not like in English where we would say your head. In Maltese instead we say ras tiyak. Alternatively, we can say ras and add that suffix straight onto ras and make it one word, rasek. So rasi, my head, rasek, your head, rasu, his head, rasa, her head, rasna, our head, raskom, your head in the plural, and rasom, their head. So each option is used interchangeably. You may opt to say, for example, ras tiyak if you're applying emphasis to say that it's your head. But otherwise they're interchangeable. There may be some groups of nouns that aren't common where you wouldn't use it, or other ones where it makes more sense to say ti, tiyak. But for all intensive purposes, especially for common nouns, you can use these suffixes. So that's about all for the three groups of pronouns that we covered. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.